Okay, let's continue the session 3 of occupational health and safety consideration. This is the third session of module 5. So in today we learn the safety and this one safety and health occupational health and safety in cement industry. So in a cement manufacturing, first in a cement in a industry there is a manufacturing of cement. So cement is a fine powder that consists of mixture of hydraulic cement material comprising primarily calcium silicate, aluminate, and aminoferrites. More than 30 raw materials, which are divided into four basic categories like calcium, silica, aluminum, and iron, are known to be used in the manufactures of Portland cements. Cement manufacturing process comprises of crushing, grinding, uh, raw mill preparation, clean burning, and cement production basically. So, so it is. We know that cement is a fine powder that consists of calcium silicate, aluminates, and aluminum oxide. And it also cement is produced from 30 raw materials, which are divided basically into calcium, silica, and aluminum and iron. So this in this process of manufacturing, it consists of crushing, grinding, raw mill preparation, clean burning. So and cement are involved in this cement production, basically. So raw materials necessary for cement manufacturing. So we know that basic four items: calcium, iron, silica, alumina, and sulfates. So this calcium is available by alkaline waste, erosion, calcite, cement clean dust, cement rock, chalk, clay, fuller fuller earth, limestone, and marble. Iron is obtained from blast furnace, few dust, clay, iron ore, mill scale, ore washing, phreatic cylinder scale. And silica is obtained from calcium silicate, cement rock, clay, fly ash, fuller's earth, limestone, marl, ore washing, quartz, rice husk, ash. Aluminates is obtained from aluminous or refuse, refuse bauxite, cement rock, clay, copper slag, fly ash, fuller's earth and gradator, limestone and loose. Sulfates are anhydrite, calcium sulfates, and gypsums. So these are the raw materials which are basically necessary for cement manufacturing. Cement manufacturing processes compressors, as we all know that it's a process consists of crushing, grinding, raw mill preparation, clean busting, cement and cement production basically. The following figure shows the procedure of flow of typical cement factory. First one is obtaining a limestone, then crushing it, grinding it, and preparing a raw mill, and then it is put into a clinker, and other additives are added, and then grinder, and then the cement is formed. So this is a basic flow chart which shows the cement manufacturing processes. Now, quarrying of limestone is performed by using explosives, and all the raw materials, limestone, marine clay, etc., are transported to the plant. These raw materials are crushed, finely ground, and blended to the correct chemical composition. The fine raw material is fed into a large rotary cylindrical four furnaces, which rotates while the contents are heated to extremely high heated to extremely high. The most commonly used clean fuels are coal, natural gas, and occasional oil. Rotary kiln is heated by up to 2000 degrees centigrade flame inside of it. The kiln is slightly inclined to allow the materials to slow reach on other end, where it is quickly cooled to 100 to 200 centigrade. Following the recooling and clinker is stored in a soil and then transferred into a cement by using gypsum and other additives according to the product requirement. Final, Finally, the cement is stored in seals and loaded to the trucks or packing into bags. So this is general procedure. The first is we get the limestone from the quarry by performing explosives, and this is transported to the plant. And these raw materials are crushed finely, and then it is fed to the rotary kiln of the cylinder, which is heated extremely high. It is heated up to 2000 degrees centigrade uh, using the natural gas or occasional oil or clean fuels. And this is inclined, but the kiln is slightly inclined so that the topper end reaches the cooling quickly, so that to 100 to 200 degrees centigrade from 2000 degrees. So following recloning, then it is added with the gypsum to form the cement, and this forms this cement, and then it is finally stored in fuels containers or mm, loaded to the trucks or packed into baggage bag. Classification and definition of hazards in cement manufacturing. Cement manufacturing process includes health and safety risks. Risks were classified as follows. First one is quarrying, crushing, clinker production, milling processes at raw mills, cement milling and coal milling, material transport, filtering, storage, loading and delivery of final products, and use of hazardous material generating units. So the hazards in cement manufacturing process. The first one is quarrying. We know that quarrying lot of dust and explosives are used, and once and these materials are once again hazardous. Procedure is hazards is while crushing, and in the clinker processes while heating, and milling of raw materials, other materials, and while the transportation, and the hazards are during filters also, and while storing also, and loading and delivery of final products due to the dust, and use of hazardous materials while preparation, and generators used generating units are other hazards in chemical manufacturing. So main hazard factors associated with cement manufacturing process processes. In the cement manufacturing process, the main hazards are first one is quarrying. During quarrying, a lot of dust and noises are produced, which are hazardous to the employee working in it. Raw material preparation, dust and toxin gases, CO2, nitrogen oxides or nitrogen nitrates or other azotes, sodium oxide, noise, noise and heat pollution. So these are the hazards during raw material preparation. And in clinker buster is the hazards are dust, toxin gases, heat, high heat radiations, high over, overloads. So this is a hazards during the clinker burning. During burning, so like dust, toxin gases are liberated, so which affects the employee who are involved in this clinker burning. And clinker cooling and cement milling. So auxiliary materials and additives, dust and heat and noises. So these are the hazards for the workers in the working in the clinker cooling and cement milling. And packaging and storing, dust and high workload, package and storage and delivery. So since the workload is laborious and high for delivery and while storing, a lot of dust causes and high workloads during high workload loads, direct exposures on the body, and all these are the hazards while packing, storing, and delivering. Okay, and dust. So we'll discuss in brief what are the hazards. Dust emission is one of the most significant impact of cement manufacturing and associates with the handling and storage of raw materials, including crushing, grinding, and of raw materials. Solid fuels, transportation of materials, example by trucks or conveyor belts, and clean system, clinker cooler mills, including clinker and limestone burning and packaging and bagging activities. Packing, packaging is most polluting processes in terms of dust in cement production. So we know that the first point we know that which is commonly known by each and everyone, that it's a most of the dust, since the particles are uh, very small in microns, so the size particle sizes, and so it produces lot of dust. It is one of the significant impact in cement manufacturing. And other associate hazards are during handling the raw materials and while in transporting or transportation of the materials either by trucks or conveyor belts. And last one is the and packaging. So most of the hazards are in this we can see the hazards are due to the dust, the noise, and the working in the uh, fuels, working with the fuels. So the working with the hazardous chemicals. So this is one of the basic hazards. And second one is nitrogen oxide. Nitrogen oxide emissions are emitted from high temperature combustion processes of cement kiln. Carbon dioxide, defined as a greenhouse gas, is mainly associated with fuel combustion and with the decarbonation of limestone. So nitrogen oxide emissions are emitted from high temperatures combustions, and carbon dioxide are defined as a greenhouse gas is also mainly associated with. And in addition to specific hazards, there are also general hazards all in cement manufacturing, such as such processes as safe beer, work equipment, safety labels, personal protective equipment, manual load handling. So these are other hazards. In addition to this other specific hazards, there are also general hazards, like in safe behavior in a safe behavior in the cement manufacturing industry, working equipment. With the working, we should be safety with the working equipment, safety labels, and personal and use of the personal protective equipment, and manual and mainly in manual handling. That is manual handling of the loads. Typical injuries in the cement plants are as defined as slips, trips, and falls. This is of 25%. Slips is slippery or trips due to the this one, and fall. This type of injuries due to this type of actions are of up to 20, 30 to 29%. Falling of moving objects. and lifting uh, or smalling of moving object. So this type hazards is up to 19%. Lifting overload exertion is of 18%, which we can see in the next figure. Fatalities is the most serious target that can happen in the cement industry. Fatalities. So, and 90% of all the fatalities, 79% of all the fatalities arises from three main causes: traffic and mobile plant, fall from height and item falling is from 25%, 21%, caught in moving or starting equipment, that is 15%. It is reported that contractors and young temporary employees are high risk in categories in cement manufacturing plants. So first one is in the injuries. We can see that 29% of injuries are due to slip, trip, and fall, and 19% is due to the moving objects, and remaining 18% is due to the uh, overload and acceleration. And fatalities is the most serious fatalities in the cement industry, in which 75% of all the fatalities are called due to 79 are mainly caused due to traffic and mobile plant of, and 79% out of 79, 43% is due to the traffic and mobile plant. That is due to the movement of vehicles, since there is heavy movement of vehicles, and 21% is due to the fall of items. Whenever it falls, whenever you dump the items, it produces the dust or noise and other things. Mm. And caught and moving of starting equipment, it means maintenance of the equipment. It is, and for all these processes, we are using the young employees. So see, these employees are of high risk in the cement manufacturing plant. So if you put a chart, so we can see that slip, trips, falls is of 29%, falling or moving objects 19%, caught by vehicle mobile plant is 6%, caught in fixing machineries, that is 9%, lifting overload or over overexert is 18%, handling tools is of 6%, injuries by heat or chemicals 1%. Other multiple causes are of 12%. So these are the overall hazards from the chemical manufacturing industries. So this chart represents the major percentage based on the percentage of hazards from the chemical industry. So what are uh, slip, trips, and fall prevention act? Confined areas, lack of uh, confined areas, that is lack of, means which is shorter area which are lack of oxygen, poisonous gas fumes or vapor, fire and exposure, dust, hot. And prevention action is you must avoid entering to confined spaces. Remote cameras can be used. Permit to the worker, whoever is working, he should get the permit. Cleaning before the entry. Provision for ventilation. Testing of air. Provision of proper lighting in this working place. So this can be prevented from slipping or trips or falls, falling. So that means we need a proper, means we should get a permission before entering these areas which are lack of oxygen and of poisonous gases, fumes, and fire and explosions, dust, hot condition. And second one is electricity. Trips. Um, so electricity, each panel should be labeled. Safe electrical equipment should be purchased and used. Appropriate PPE training for training of personnel. That is in electric, for the electric safety. from the electrical hazards, we can the prevention measures. You can each panel has to electrical panel has to be labeled, and high quality equipment has to be used, and proper personal caring equipment has to be used. That is proper appropriate PPE, personal protection equipment, and training of the employee. Means how to use this in the electrical work, and they should get the proper training. Falling or moving objects, tidy workplace. You should have a neat workplace. Avoid working beneath or uh, cover elevations, conveyor belts. Means you should means hazards can be prevented by either if you by avoid the working beneath when the elevators or conveyor belts whenever it is in the working. And PPE usage, proper usage of PPE, that is personal protective equipment. And fire hazards, and how the prevention like fire in conveyor belts, electrical level, fuels, and waste combustion materials, combustible materials. So how to avoid prevention is proper waste disposal, uh, good housekeeping, heat detector usage, fire extinguisher, firefighting procedures must be used. So from this, for the fire, these are the safety measures, preventive measures. That is, we should use a proper waste disposal, and we should have a good housekeeping personals, and heat detectors usage, and we should have in place the fire extinguisher for protection, and firefighting procedure must be known to each and everyone. Mm. And working, and another hazard is working at heights. Usage of appropriate ladder and scaffolding, usage of fall protection system, usage of proper PPE. So whenever the workers are working at the heights, they should use proper ladder or scaffolding, usage of fall protection system, and proper PPE kits should be used from this hazards. Noise and vibrations. So technologies of noise attenuation, absorption, and insulation. Appropriate hearing protection. So from this noise and vibration, we can we can do the protection by using appropriate hearing protection and using the proper technologies of absorbing and insulation of noise and vibrations. And so these are the prevention measures for this noise and vibration. Excavation site. All excavation in a plant should be surrounded with handrail so that they can get the support. So this is a prevention measure in the excavation site that they should provide us surrounded with the handrails so that they can get the grip so that any fall or slip can be avoided. Vehicles. Avoid overloading. Make sure backup alarm on all vehicles are functioning. Be sure that trucks and other vehicles are in good working order, including audible backup warning signals before operating them. So, from the vehicle hazards, the prevention can be done by avoiding the overloading, and they should have alarms whenever the vehicle is moving backwards. So, and backward, and the driver should make sure that they are in a good working order, including the audible backup warning signals, and before he operates the vehicles. And guards of machinery. Safety guards of machinery. Those parts must be provided with safety guards or devices. Then is hazard from manual handling. Must look must be looked out of sharp edges, slipperies, and nails. Splinters and nails. Splinters and nails. When lifting heavy objects, legs should be used as much as possible to save back muscles. So in manual handling, we can do the prevention like that we should look out the sharp edges, splinters, and other nails in the working place if there are any. And while lifting heavy objects, so the legs should be used much as possible to save back muscles. Tag out and lock out electrical and process isolation. From these hazards, electrical isolation switches must be turned off. So electrical isolation system must be turned. So and other is dust hazard. Usage of automated packing machines. So which will help in prevention of the dust. Usage of enclosed conveyors, closed that is closed conveyors, so that dust is not um, uh, dust is not spreaded to a larger area. Storage of crushed raw materials in a closed base. If it is closed in a closed base, so this dust can be covered. Appropriate respiratory protection should be respiratory protection should be worn during working in these areas. So these are the preventive measures in dusty areas. That is using of automatic packing machines where the high dust is used, high dust is liberated. So we should use automatic packing machines and closed conveyors where the so the dust are not spread, and storing in a, raw materials in a closed base so that continuous liberation of dust can be avoided. Appropriate respiratory protection should be worn when working in this uh, uh, situations or in this place, dust in a dusty place. Cement dust. Usage of respiratory respiratory to minimize inhalation of cement dust. Respiratory usage of soap and water avoid skin damage. Avoid exposure to cement dust to prevent bronchitis and cilios, bronchitis and silicosis. So cement dust is very harmful, very harmful. So to avoid from this hazard, we should make use of respirators or inhalation in the inhalation mechanics or instruments, and you should use soap and water, wash your skin to avoid skin damage, and you should avoid the exposure to cement dust, uh, which causes the bronchitis and cirrhosis like diseases. So we all know that cement manufacturing industry is a labor intensive and use large scale and potential hazardous manufacturing processes. Therefore, health and safety is number one priority in the cement industry for its employees, contractors, end users, and those who are neighbors to its operation. Exposure to dust and high temperature contact and with allergic substances and noise exposure can be defined as a hazards associated with health. While falling impact with object, hot surface burns and transportation working at height, slip, trip, fall can be defined as hazardous associated with safety. Say in the cement manufacturing industry, is it is a there is the large scale of labor are used, and when the operation and is means the cement industry, safety should be the number one priority, and exposure to the dust and high temperature which causes ca- whenever in high temperature, exposure to high temperature noise and allergy can be considered as a hazardous associate, and working with uh, while falling or impact with the objects, hot surface burns, and this also be considered as a hazardous, which are associated with the safety and health. And It is the most critical issue that ensuring a health and safety culture in workplace. For this purpose, health and safety policies should be adopted with other policies of the company. Additional risk management of policy of company should be developed and risk assessment should be performed regularly and efficient. So, in associated with this, the risk management and risk assessment should be performed regularly, and they should be associated with the safety policies, and they should adopt it. And for the purpose of the health policies, and they should uh, adopt it in the policies of the company itself. And so these are the major uh, issues in the cement industries, no, in the health hazards in the cement industry production. Thank you. So this is the end of session 3, and we will be continuing this occupational health and safety in the session 4 also. Thank you.